Let's look at some of the do's and don'ts for designing infographics, with special attention given to the page layout and the use of graphics and colors. I created this infographic that provides study tips for college students. Let's apply some do's and don'ts and see how we can improve it, and we will begin with the graphics. Don't add unnecessary graphics. If we zoom in on the first tip, it says that writing helps you remember and serves as a study reference. The photograph nicely illustrates the text, making the graphic of the pen unnecessary. In a similar manner, this image of headphones does not add anything to what's already covered by the text and photograph. The same can be said of the extra graphics in each section. They are unnecessary. Don't number each section unless doing so is helpful. If there were 9 or 10 tips, I can see how using the numbers would be helpful, but here we have only 5 tips, and they don't have to be followed in a particular order, first 1, then 2, then 3. You can actually pick and choose which tips work for you. Do look for ways to add variety to the page layout. If we look at only the underlying structure of this infographic, the alternating pattern gives the page visual balance, but it is not interesting. By making the images smaller, there is room for a bit of variety, resulting in a more dynamic page layout, as well as space for additional content. Don't get carried away with using too many colors. These photographs add visual interest, and they will stand out more if we use consistent colors as a background for the text. If these photographs were black and white, then I probably would consider using different colored backgrounds for the text. And do add subtle touches like these 5 squares, which serve as the background for the text. If we zoom in, we can see that each square has a slight texture to it. I created this infographic using Canva. Instead of using a solid rectangle like this one, I thought that the texture would add just a bit of visual interest. I found this by going to Elements, and instead of looking under Graphics, I looked under Photos and searched for a square. Now let's add back the original text. Do make sure the content is easy to read. Your story is important and you want it to stand out. Here this can be accomplished by applying a consistent color to the text with bold headers and a strong alignment. The curvy arrows are also replaced with simple block arrows that allows the focus to be on the content. And lastly, do add some variety to your content. A good way to do this is by taking one section and adding more information to it. And we have room to do this here. In the section about blocking out unwanted noise with headphones, we can add a tip about listening to classical music. And in the section about planning your time, we can add a recommendation for using a planner. With our redesign complete, let's compare the before and after. The original design was improved by changing the page layout and the use of graphics and color. It is interesting to note both designs contain exactly the same text and photographs. In the original design, the content was getting lost behind too many competing colors and graphics, whereas in the redesign, the colors and graphics are chosen to bring focus on the main content. I hope you found this video helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions.